Hello and welcome to today's video where we're going to go over jungle champion priority by team essentially. I have the players listed, but it's pretty much a team decision on how they want to approach the jungle and also player comfort. So on the board here we have 10 different champions that are the most played by that player during regular season. This does not include playoffs. So keep that in mind. On here, I also have little numbers next to players. That's going to just be the kind of addition to this video. We're just going to kind of highlight, oh, well, maybe there's a tendency here. The teams that did the best had this jungler as their prio. When I did it originally for mid lane, Azir was considered to be not only a heavy favorite for mid lane priority as a pick, but also there was some discussions about whether the DPM was boosting players, making players better, things of that nature. And we came to find out that they were boosted. I think 25 of the 48 mids found, 45 mids, the main starters, were boosted in DPM. However, the ranking of the best DPM players in terms of output didn't really change all that much based on the Azir being removed from the mid lane pool. But now, as it applies to junglers, I am curious what jungler. I mean, hypothetically, let's just say if I took all 20 of these players that played Xin Zhao the most and looked at the differences in which their output was based on the champion usage. Did they play it as a carry? Did they play it as a facilitator? How did the damage look? Things like that. I'm curious if there is a video to be made on the subject, if anyone really cares about something like that, because there was not as much in terms of, there wasn't a loud group of people, claiming that jungle had a OP champion that was really, falsely boosting players' numbers, if you will. So let's go over this. So in the case of Xin Zhao, 20 of the 45 starting junglers, that was their most played. Wei Wei, Krako, Kanavi, Hacker, so that's LNG, Anyone's Legend, JDG, Ultra Prime, Hung from Team Wii, Nayu from Rare Atom, Tian from Top Esports, Bechuan from Thunder Talk, Aki, Ninja in Pajamas, Wei from RNG, Zhao Hao from Weibo. So that's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of the 17 LPL junglers. Xin Zhao was their most played. So clearly we can say LPL had a prio for Xin Zhao, at least getting through to the pick phase of the regular season. In the LCK, Willer was the only one to have. Actually, I have Shun listed here as well. Something out of order. So 12 of 17 junglers. In the case of in the case of the LCK, Willer was the only one that played Xin Zhao the most. Everyone else played something else. So there's a big difference here between LPL prio and LCK prio when it came to Xin Zhao this past split. In the LCS, Boogie and Blabber, they're most played. LEC, clearly a priority here for Xin Zhao. Peach, Elyoya, Marcoon, Sheo, Yanko. So that is half of the starting junglers playing Xin Zhao more than any other champion in the regular season. I added winter season and spring season. So out of those 18 games, those 5 players played it the most. In the case of Rel, so very facilitator oriented. Rel is a glorified support, in my opinion, in the jungle role at times. Meteor from the LPL played it the most. Then we have Sylvie, Lucid, Canyon, Owner from LCK playing Rel. So 4 of the 10 starters playing Rel the most in the LCK. You could argue that in the LCK they had high Rel prio versus the other 3 major regions. Europe, Isma, and Douglas played Rel more than anything else. And then XU from the LCS played it for Dignitas. Vi, River, and Armeo. So 100 Thieves and Immortals they played a lot of Vi. Bo from KC and Razork from Fnatic also played a lot of Vi. Lee Sin, Milky Way from FPX, this was his most played, followed by Pioshik, Cuz, and Gideon from the LCK. So we can see here that not only was it Rel, but then Lee Sin as the highest prio junglers for teams in the LCK. Xin Zhao is not nearly at the top here, right? Really looking at this in terms of like LPL, it's just Xin Zhao and then whatever anyone else wanted to play. LEC is Xin Zhao as well. Viego. So we have three players playing a lot of Viego. Zhao Feng from OMG, the rookie, for that team. Monkey from EDG, another rookie, played a lot of Viego. And Yike from G2. Maokai, Peanut and Inspired. Peanut from HLE, Inspired from FlyQuest. They played Maokai the most. Nidalee, Lan. We know Lan as a Nidalee enjoyer. That was his most played. Sejuani, Sponge. I believe Sponge went winless on Sejuani, but yet it was his most picked champion. DRX did struggle. One could argue if the Sejuani was a part of the problem. I mean, if you continue to pick a champion when you've lost it 7 times, I mean, you've never won on it, and you've lost 7 times on it, maybe you need to do something else. Not to mention, if you're the only team in LOL Esports with this high priority on Sejuani, maybe you are doing something wrong. Poppy, Umpty. If you look at the entirety and you add playoffs, Poppy, he only played maybe 5th most out of his champion pool. But regular season, in those 14 games, he played Poppy 3 times. That was more than anything else. So, yeah, that was a rare, not a lot of people playing Poppy as much as Umpty. And then Ivern, Contracts played it twice. He played a couple champions twice. Nothing more than that. And Ivern, I think, had the best win rate, or if I had to go to the next tiebreaker, it was KDA. So keep that in mind as well. There are players on here that had ties for first place, and it's not about, oh, that player looked better on this champion. I looked at stats. What was the win rate like? And then not only that, what was the KDA after the win rate as a tiebreaker? Now, in terms of, what do the best teams play? Is there a correlation here? The best teams took prio for these champions. In the case of the LPL, in terms of the top 5 teams, what do we have here? Aki from Ninja and Pajamas, they finished 5th in the regular season. Xin Zhao. 4th was Milky Way, played Lee Sin. We saw Milky Way play a lot of carry-oriented junglers, but Lee Sin was actually his most played. Followed by Kanavi, he played a lot of Xin Zhao. Tian played Xin Zhao, and Shun played Xin Zhao. So 4 of the top 5 LPL teams had high prio on Xin Zhao in the jungle. So, 12 of 17, it's going to be hard to find, a majority of the top teams up there. But, when you think about it and you really kind of go over it, like the teams, Meteor playing Rel a lot. LGD kind of stunk. Maybe there's something to be said for that. You're going away from everybody else, doing something other teams aren't doing. Viego, Zhao Feng, a rookie, he looked best on Viego as well, so, I can understand it. Monkey, carry-oriented jungler at his best. EDG sucked, so there's that. IG, Lan, that's his one trick, so, we're able to kind of explain why these other teams did what they did, but at the same time, they weren't as high in the standings. In the LCK, the top 3 teams, Maokai, Peanut's most played. HLE finished 3rd, and Maokai was his most played. An interesting thing to think about here. And then Canyon and Owner both played Rel the most, and they finished 1-2 in the regular season. All 3 of them, Maokai can be kind of carry-oriented, but now he's, in my opinion, he's more so useful for his ulti than anything else, and maybe the vision with the saplings and things like that. So, kind of going more to supportive in the LCK, that kind of makes sense. Not only that, you look at these teams that we're talking about here. Zeka, heavy resource. Doran, weak side, but usually wants more gold. At this point in his career, I think that Doran kind of earned that right. T1, Zeus, heavy on the gold, more so than your average top laner. And Canyon, of course, Chovy's going to just eat all the gold he can. So if they can play Rel, that allows Chovy to do a lot of different things. And Keen, also. In the case of the LEC, the top three teams, Sheo and, just Sheo, played Zinjao a lot for BDS. Razork played Vi, and Yike played Viego. So everybody looking at it a little differently in the LEC. We've seen Yike play a lot of Viego over his career at a high level. That is probably one of his better champions. I'm not a big Vi fan, but it works for Fnatic, I guess, at least in the case of wanting to pick it. Win rate is another situation entirely. In the LCS, the top two junglers, River played a lot of Vi for 100 Thieves. They were second, and Inspired played Maokai for FlyQuest, and they finished first. A lot of teams playing Xin Zhao, but out of the five, when you look at it, actually, when you take the LPL teams away, only one player played Xin Zhao the most in the other three major regions that was on a top team in the regular season, and it was Sheo for BDS. Everybody else kind of were peppered in here in other champions. Of course, like I said, 2 for Rel, a couple for Vi, and something to note too. So TL ends up going to MSI, but these bottom 4 teams, none of them, really were a threat at the end. Of course, to varying degrees. Not a threat at the end. But in the regular season, we're not, high teams. Like, they weren't to note. Team Liquid did finish, I think Team Liquid might have finished 4th in the regular season in the LCS. So, really, think about it. None of these teams in the regular season were better than average. IG were above average, TL above average, Sponge on DRX down in the gutter, and NRG, meh, kind of falling back down to earth. So, this is just kind of rambling about jungle champion priority. Comment down below with your thoughts. Like the video if you like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, become a YouTube supporter, and hope to see you again tomorrow.